Hello everyone, how are you? It's Will or TubeMix here, either will do. And like you, I was saddened to hear about the death of legendary singer-songwriter Roger Whittaker. He was just fantastic, and as well as his singing, he was known for his whistling as well. And hits including Durham Town, The Leaving, The Last Farewell, and New World in the Morning, and, well, many, many more. And unlike Sinatra and Bing Crosby and people like that, Roger Whittaker was a crooner, but a folk crooner is how I would describe him. And I just love the sound of his voice, very relaxed, and just such a brilliant singer-songwriter who often told stories. The Last Farewell and, well, New World in the Morning and Durham Town. Actually, all of those are story songs, really. So Roger was one of those, like, came out the same time as Joni Mitchell, Randy Newman, people like those. So, yeah, I suppose he came out of a bunch of songwriters. He was the first person to record The Wind Beneath Your Wings. It wasn't a hit over here. Wasn't a hit until Bette Midler did it for the Beaches soundtrack in 1993, I think. And unlike Bette with a voice and a power, well, Roger's version is, his voice is very soft and it's a completely different feel. The Last Farewell, in fact, very surprisingly, was recorded by Elvis Presley. He had Roger's version in his jukebox and absolutely loved it. And it wasn't until long after Elvis Presley had died that one of his musicians told Roger how much he loved the song. And Elvis got to record it, and it is such a brilliant version. I really do recommend you check it out. It's perfect for Elvis Presley. And they could be more different. Elvis Presley, you know, known for shaking his hips and wearing bodysuits, and Roger Whittaker, completely the opposite. Very relaxed, wearing, well, sweaters and stuff like that. So, yeah, they couldn't be more different. But, yeah, his version of The Last Farewell is absolutely brilliant. My favourite Roger Whittaker song has to be New World in the Morning. It's such a brilliant song. It's a bit more poppy, commercial pop, I would say, than something like Durham Town, for example. And, you know, it's about optimism, really, you know, and it's such a wonderful song. I'm trying to think the first time I knew of Roger Whittaker. Well, as you know, I've been a Radio 2 listener, and it'd be very rare to hear him nowadays, but back in the 70s and 80s, Roger Whittaker would be the kind of artist you'd find on the old Radio 2. In fact, talking of radio, he had his own radio program. In fact, someone sent him a poem, which I've told you about The Last Farewell. Well, the words to The Last Farewell were originally a poem that was sent to him. And then, obviously, music was put to it, and yeah, that became The Last Farewell, which was a big hit for him. It's, yeah, it's a wonderful song. And in the 80s, long after his prime, I suppose, he went back into the charts again with Des O'Connor, with their version of the Irish song, the Skyboat Song, which is quite great and very surprising. And there was a great clip I watched on YouTube, quite spookily, just before Roger passed, and it was him and Val Doonican. Oh yes, sorry, I completely forgot. Durham Town wasn't originally Roger Whittaker. No, it was Val Doonican. Oh no, sorry, no, thinking of Paddy McGinty's Ghost. Never mind. Sorry, I'm getting confused. But Roger was a guest on Val's show, and they performed a medley of each of his hits as well. And they were pretty similar in a lot of ways. They both came from that folk scene. They were both singer-songwriters. They both had television and radio programs retrospectively. So, yeah, they were very similar. So, of course, it made sense to have them both in the same room, I think. And Roger retired in 2012 after a very long career, and I don't blame him. And, yeah, he will be missed. And but, of course, the great thing about being a musician is his music will live on. And I'm sure I'll keep listening to it. New World in the Morning, I particularly know that. Well, you may remember that a couple of years ago, Penny Smith used to dep in for, from GMTV, used to dep in for Vanessa Feltz's Radio 2 show. And on one of the features, she would use not any of the vocal portion of the song, but just the beginning with his whistling, because it works as a bed. In case you're wondering why I'm saying bed, a bed is basically a term for background music. So whenever you listen to a radio station and there's background music along, while the DJ's talking, that's a bed. Yeah, hopefully you've learned something there. And yeah, obviously he will be missed. So, if I was to give you a song I think you should listen to, well, The Last Farewell is wonderful. So beautiful lyrics. Durham Town, The Leaving, it's a sad song. It's about somebody going to war and not coming back. But again, it's very beautifully written. I think New World in the Morning. I think, well, although it's not a very obvious choice to play at a disco, I would actually, if I was at the decks, which is going to be very, very unlikely, that I would play New World in the Morning. In fact, I always play that with Terry Wogan's The Floral Dance, because they sort of have a similar sound to it. So, yeah, I would recommend that. And The Wind Beneath My Wings, well, it's such a wonderful song. So many artists have recorded it. But I think, well, it's a toss-up between Roger and Perry Como, who, for those of you who know me personally, I love Perry Como. So it's a toss-up between his version and Perry Como's version, which he recorded for his last studio album, Today, which was basically him recording the songs that were current at that point. So yeah, I got to narrow it down. Well, I tell you what, I mean, listen to whatever song you like. I can't decide. But, hopefully this will make you feel inspired, because I do think Roger is one of those artists who's sadly become forgotten in a lot of ways. Like we all remember, people remember Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby and so many of those kind of artists. And even though Roger wasn't exactly the same as them, I do feel it's a shame that he's been forgotten. So I hope obviously it's not positive he's passed away, but I do hope the positive of this is it might inspire people to search his music, and hopefully you'll discover the joy of him. And yeah, right, well, that's it for this video. The next one's going to be another tribute, as I said, to the late Sir Michael Gambon, who passed away recently. So I'm going to be doing a tribute to him and talking about his career. And yeah, if you want to, feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe to the TubeMix YouTube channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.